Hey guys, what's up? It's Lexi. I am a couples, weddings, and portrait / lifestyle photographer here in Tucson, Arizona. I do a little bit of everything because I kind of like everything. In all seriousness though, my niche is definitely like boudoir, intimate couples, weddings, stuff like that. I get a ton of questions from you guys in my Instagram DMs asking me all about what it was like to be a new photographer, things I wish I knew, what gear I would recommend. So I decided to sit down and compile all of those questions / answers into an entire video, and I'm just gonna call it Getting Into Photography. So what I did is I made a short list of things I wanted to touch on in this video, and I'm gonna be checking them off as I go. So jumping right into the video, I'm gonna start with my kind of story with photography, my experience getting into it, basically just all the mistakes and lessons I've learned along the way, and then I'm gonna transition into gear I would recommend for beginner photographer, and I'm gonna finish off with all the things I wish I knew and advice for any new photographers watching. I'm gonna have all the timestamps linked down below if you want to skip to a particular part in the video, but otherwise let's hop right in. So getting into photography, a lot of people ask me if I went to school, what my kind of deal is, how I got into photography, how I got to where I am now. So I'm just gonna go over everything kind of from the beginning. So getting started with photography, my mom always did natural photography, which I was kind of interested in, but I never really picked it up. She taught my siblings and I how to use the cameras and let us shoot at like the zoo and the museum and stuff like that. So I've been around cameras for as long as I can remember. What I would consider to be the actual beginning of my photography journey is probably going to happen in sophomore or junior year of high school. I decided to take the photography class at school. I thought it was going to be an easy A because I knew everything I needed to know about cameras. I needed an extra elective credit. And I didn't think much of it. I figured it would just be an easy and fun class. So I ended up taking the photography class, and my teacher really took me under her wing. We had a lot in common. She was really young, and we just clicked. And so she introduced me to a lot of opportunities. She let me second shoot for her. She let me borrow her camera gear. She was basically a mentor to me. And once I had the opportunity to second shoot my first wedding, it was definitely like the rest is history. I immediately fell in love with it. I excelled in the class. All of the assignments that were given, I would take it above and beyond. I would recruit different people from school and all of my friends and stuff to model. And I came to the realization that portraits was definitely my thing. And I'm not into landscapes. I don't like car photography, food photography, like nothing gets me like portraits. I love taking pictures of people. So all throughout high school, I was practicing, I was taking the class. Later on in my junior year and going into my senior year is when it really started picking up. A lot of my friends started booking me for their senior pictures. I started charging like $20 for like an hour-long session and like all the digitals back. I started on a Rebel T5i, that's what we use in school, and then I tried a Nikon for like literally 5 seconds, absolutely hated it, sold it, and then bought a Rebel T6. So put a pin in that, that's gonna be relevant later. So I was working on a Canon Rebel T6. I started booking senior sessions for like 50 bucks a pop. I was doing these like 3 days a week after school, all throughout high school, and I ended up saving up a couple grand just with that combo. I used the 50mm 1.8, put a pin in it, and the Canon Rebel T6, and with that combo alone, I was booking pretty good. At least I thought so at the time. So my senior year of high school, I decided not to go to college. I decided to pursue photography full-time, which a lot of my teachers and administrators didn't like because they really like to push the idea of college, but honestly, I would not change it for the world. I have learned so much. So to answer the question of if I went to school for photography, no, I didn't. I did take the high school class, but I did not go to like take any college classes or anything like that for photography. Everything that I know is essentially self-taught. Everything that I've learned, anything valuable that I've learned has been through experience or through mentorships that I purchased later on in my career. So I have been doing photography about 4 years now, which in the photography world is not that long at all. But I can say that I've learned so much, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So here are some things that I wish I knew as a photographer starting out. Okay, the first thing on my list is I wish I knew that free shoots were okay. A lot of photographers disagree with this and think that photographers need to be charging a minimum of $100 or whatever it is. Honestly, when you are first starting, you need to be doing free work. People are not gonna pay you if you don't have any work in your portfolio. You need to get practice. You need to understand how to work your camera. You need to be familiar with your settings and what kind of style you're into. And none of that's gonna happen if you're not booking any gigs, and you're not going to book any gigs if that doesn't happen. So it's kind of like you have to recruit your friends and family and take some free pictures. And even to this day, if there are pictures that I want for my Instagram or something that I've like, or an image that I've visualized for a long time and I want to make a concept come to life, I still do free sessions, I still recruit models, and I still do free work even to this day. So free work is honestly going to be your best friend. And if you don't have any friends willing to model for you, I would recommend going on Instagram and looking up the hashtag like of the city that you live in. So I live in Tucson, Arizona, so I would look up hashtag Tucson model, hashtag Tucson couples, and just look under the hashtag, or you can look under the geotag of whatever your city is and then see people that are traveling there or that live there. There are a lot of people that want to get their name out there, so it's honestly not that hard. You just have to use Instagram almost like Google. The next thing I wish I knew when I started my photography business is that personality sells. And this is honestly something that I just recently kind of figured out for myself within the last year. I would always try to be so buttoned up, like so I would always wear dresses or slacks to weddings. I would always really dress up. I would talk very professionally. When I was talking to people, I would talk kind of like a robot because I didn't want people to think I was childish or I didn't know what I was doing. I just really stressed the idea of wanting to come across as professional, and I think people could see you right through that. So I would get a lot of inquiries and a lot of them would fall through or they would ghost me, and I didn't really understand what the problem was. But in this last year, when the coronavirus really took over and people were craving like personality and connection, I was so active on my Instagram stories. I posted every single day, and I started posting on TikTok. I also started posting more pictures of my face on my Instagram feed, and that has been a complete game changer. Like I said, people crave connection and they want to it almost builds a sense of trust between you and your followers, which your followers are your potential clients. Like, just because they haven't paid you yet doesn't mean they don't want to pay you. You don't know which people are watching you and thinking about booking with you. Sometimes people will have photographers on their radar long before they actually want to book them, and it only takes one picture that resonates with them for them to reach out to you and book you. So they might see a picture that you post that completely speaks to them, and they're going to reach out to you, and they're going to feel comfortable with you because they recognize you from your stories, from your posts. You know what I mean? And it even makes it easier when you meet up with the clients at the session. They're gonna recognize your face, they're gonna come right up to you, and it's just gonna be better. Okay, so just be personal. Personality sells just as much as your photography does. So like, you have to consistently show up, and you have to be the person behind the camera. Like, put a personality behind your business. Like, you want to humanize your business. You're not a robot. Talk like a person. Okay, just be yourself. Personality sells. That's number 2. So kind of going off of what I just spoke about, you have to be consistent. You have to consistently show up. My general rule of thumb is I try to post an Instagram story every day. I try to post an Instagram post every day if I can, or every other day. And on your Instagram feed, every 6 pictures at least needs to have a picture of your face in it, right? So even if it's all six of those are your face, so be it. But do not go more than 6 posts in a row without having your face on it, because when people are pulling up your page, they need to see at least one picture of you smiling, looking in the camera, building connections so they can recognize you and know who, you know, blank photography is. Like, people see me and they know who Lex Haley Photography is. I put a face behind the business. Be consistent, okay? Show up, because when you show up for yourself, other people show up for you. So be consistent. All right, next, invest in a site or like client communication type of deal that takes care of your contracts and your invoices. So when I first started, I did not do invoices or anything. I did contracts, like written contracts sometimes. A lot of time I didn't even do that. I just would show up to a shoot and I would get like ghosted all the time. I would show up and people wouldn't come, and that is a living nightmare, and I can't even imagine doing that now. But that's how I did it back then. And also I would take payments through PayPal just so I could still keep record of it. But now I would highly recommend either Honeybook. I know Honeybook is kind of expensive. I personally use Shootproof just because the price is the best for everything that you get. It's going to handle here, this isn't an ad, but it should be, right? Okay, so I definitely recommend Shootproof. It handles your invoices, your contracts, your galleries, any additional print sales or anything like that. It literally does all of that. I pay 20 bucks a month, and it makes things so organized, so easy, especially when tax season comes around. If you're beginning, you probably don't have to worry about taxes right now, but just for future reference, or you never know, girl, your business might pop off within the first year or two. You want to have that stuff ready when you have to pay taxes. Next one, require actual addresses when you're meeting up with people. None of this like meet me in this back alley and you can follow me to the location, because you don't know how far it is. Okay, a lot of times, you know, unfortunately, clients will lie, or clients will give you the wrong impression, or you'll show up and the place will not look at all like you were expecting. It could be really hard to work with. You never know, and a lot of times clients don't understand lighting or you know, what your style is or what you're comfortable with at all. Sometimes they see things and you show up and it's a train wreck and they expect you to take nice pictures, and it's just it's so bad. I used to do this all the time. I would meet up with people and I would carpool, oh gosh, but I would carpool with clients all the time with no address, no idea where we were going. They would just give me directions and we would go. It's just a nightmare, guys. Please require actual numbered addresses, so that way you can, one, scope out the area beforehand to see if you like it, see you know, what time of day you need to be shooting there, what it looks like, where you want to shoot, do any like scouting beforehand, and also so that way you can send the address to somebody else if something happens to you and you need to be found. Not that, hopefully you're not going to die or anything. Anyways, just require actual addresses. And also require contracts. We'll just skip into the next one. Require contracts for every little thing. If you're doing free sessions, it's totally up to you, especially if it's your friends and stuff like that. I doubt that you would need it, but a good, healthy, safe general rule of thumb is just do contracts for everything, especially when it's people you don't know. People can get really shady really quick, okay? And when there is money involved, things get nasty. So just have a contract, even for your family, okay? Because things get shady really, really quick, and the larger the sum of money, like the worse it gets. So just look up some free contract templates online, do whatever you have to do. I'm sure there are some on YouTube. Just have a contract, okay? Have a physical address or a numbered address, okay? And just protect yourself. Just be safe, okay? Just have a contract, okay? If you're trading money for a service, have a contract. You're gonna be so thankful you did. Communication. Oh, right. Communicate with your clients. Let them know, honestly, let them know your rules. Don't be ashamed. I had a really big issue communicating price or when they were gonna pay or whatever it was. I used to be very uncomfortable speaking about money, and that needs to not be a thing. That needs to, okay, it's business, right? Personal life and business life is different. Like it's literally, it's just business. Like, I know that that's like a funny, like, it's just business, but like, it literally is just business. So personally, me, I require 50% upfront for every session. It doesn't matter if it's a wedding, it doesn't matter if it's a couple session. I require 50% upfront to hold the date. And so whenever I'm going over this with my client, I actually have a booking guide that explains everything, and it has an example of what my contracts look like, an example of what the invoice will look like, so that way they can know what to expect. Because the thing is, people know that they're gonna pay you, so there's no sense beating around the bush or being like, so about payment, is it okay if you pay me tonight after the session? Don't even pay me at all. Like, seriously, I was exactly like that, guys. Do not be scared to talk about money. Money is not a scary thing to talk about. You deserve to be paid for your work, okay? So communicate, okay? I know that was talking a lot about money. Communicate some of those boundaries within your business or things that you do or don't do or accept within a client. So for example, in my contract and when I talk to people, I let them know, one, the nature of the photo shoot, because I do a lot of intimate or like implied nude work. So if we're doing that, communication is so important, because I would never want to make the model feel pressured or anybody feel pressured or uncomfortable in any situation. So I would never want anybody to be uncomfortable literally ever. So communication is everything. Some personal examples of things that need to be communicated beforehand are, in my contract, I put that tags are important. If you're gonna post my pictures, you need to tag. I don't really care so much about filters. I think it's annoying when people put filters over my work, but at the end of the day, they paid for the picture and I got my money, and I have the appropriate picture with the right edit on it, so I can post that. I mean, at the end of the day, if they want to put an Instagram filter on it, and then that's their business. So I don't really care about that, but that would be another thing, that if that's a boundary for you, you need to express that to your client beforehand. Don't wait until after they do it and start a fight about it. Raw images or unedited, or will you edit in a different style to cater to what they're looking for, any of that sort of thing. I don't give raw images, and I edit in a style unique to Luxury Photography, and I have that included in my contract. Those types of things, just there's no right or wrong answer or, you know, set rule about how you need to run your business, but you do need to communicate it to your client because every photographer is different and you need to make sure that your boundaries and standpoints align with what they're looking for in a photographer. All right, next one, invest in a full frame camera. So starting out, like I said, I learned on a Rebel T5i, but my first camera ever was the Canon Rebel T6. And then when I next upgraded, I knew I wanted the 5D Mark IV. It's a full frame. If you don't know what that means, just look up a YouTube video. They have a million good ones. But I wanted to save a couple $100, so I invested in the 7D Mark II, which looking back, I wish I would have skipped that step entirely and just gone for the 5D Mark IV. It was maybe $500 or $600 more at the time. I bought a secondhand off of eBay. I wish I just would have saved for another couple months and gone straight to the full frame, because by the time I got the 70 Mark II, I spent like 800 bucks on it, and then I was stuck with that camera for like another year or so before I upgraded to a full frame. So if you are going to get into this professionally and you know you want to make money doing this, you know you want to do this business, you know that you like photography, right? Like you've had your starter camera and you know you're going to start a business with this, honestly, just invest in a full frame. I know it's a lot of money, but cameras pay for themselves. That's the great thing about them. It will pay for itself. You can charge more. Your pictures are going to be better quality. They're going to look better. When you're shooting raw, you're going to have a lot more control over what your picture looks like. You're going to be able to better find your style and stuff like that. Just, I know that it feels like a big expense to eat at the beginning, and I know that that's kind of like an unpopular opinion, but honestly, I wish, looking back, that I just would have skipped all of those in-between cameras and just gone straight for the full frame. Okay, getting more into like posing tips. You need to be comfortable talking to your clients. It's going to be painful at first, especially if you're kind of like an introvert like I was. I don't even think I was an introvert. I think I was just awkward. You need to run the session. You cannot expect your clients to know what to do, because chances are they have not done this at all. They probably haven't had a professional photo taken since their like baby pictures or their senior pictures, if they even got those. So a lot of people don't know how to pose themselves. Do not expect people to pose themselves. The pictures are going to be really stiff and awkward. Do not expect it. So go on Instagram, find some photographers you like, and save some pictures and poses that you like and reference them during the shoot, because let me tell you, it is a hell of a lot less embarrassing to take out your phone during a session and be like, you know, I saw this new pose that I wanted to try, like, let me show you, right? Show them the picture so that way they can like recreate the pose, and nobody's gonna question you if you do that. Nobody's gonna question you if you do that. They're gonna feel special that you're trying out a new pose on them, and it's way better than just being like, maybe we could just him and Han not know what you want to freaking do. So just trust me, like, save some pictures. A really good tip is to actually take an SD card and upload some of your reference photos onto the SD card, and then put that in your camera, so that way when you look back at your camera, you can like kind of nonchalantly like scroll backwards and then kind of see those pictures there and be like, oh, like I remember I wanted to recreate this one. But honestly, the phone one works just fine. It's only embarrassing if you make it embarrassing. There's nothing wrong with like referencing a pose. Like we're humans too. People understand that photographers are human, so just don't be scared. Talk to people like they're people, because they are. So finishing off this video, what gear do I recommend to a beginner? This is going to be for people who want to get into portrait photography, because that's what I specialize in. And I will actually have all the gear linked down below. I would definitely recommend a Rebel T6, because you learn on that camera with Canon, and then anything you upgrade to after that is going to be fairly simple to learn, which is super awesome and super great. So a Rebel T6, it goes for this much money. Sorry, I didn't like look this up before the video, but I have it on the screen. And a Canon 50mm 1.8. You can buy this secondhand for this much money. Cha-ching! And like I said, cameras pay for themselves. I made my first couple $1,000s on this combo just shooting senior pictures, so definitely try this out. From what I hear, a 50mm is a good starting reference point, because it's kind of like what the eye sees. And also definitely please check out prime lenses, just because they stop down really low and give that really creamy bokeh background that you're really gonna want for professional pictures. It's gonna make your shit look awesome. Okay, woo, camera died. All right, that's gonna be it for me today, you guys. If you guys prefer more photography or education-based videos, please let me know down below in the comments, so that way I can create the content you guys want to see. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Check out some of my others. It really helps out the channel. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one that I post. I try to post every single Wednesday. That should get a little bit easier now that I'm doing photography and content creation full time. So I hope to see you on some of my other videos. Please remember to be kind always, stay hydrated, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!